Today I'm flying in a private pod from Amsterdam to Toronto. What does it include? How much does it cost? Let's find out. Alright, welcome to Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. You know you're in the right place when the first thing you see is a Heineken bar. We flew in on a Scandinavian Airlines flight from Oslo, so no check-in footage here. We start by hoofing it from one side of the airport to the other. We went to check out the Aspire Lounge, but it's temporarily closed for renovations. God truly gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. The good news is they turned the restaurant right beside the lounge into a sort of temporary lounge. It was quite small, so you could only get in if you were flying business class. Here's my first plate of food. I already ate a bunch of the cucumbers before, I swear. And they had Heineken on tap, so I had to partake in the Dutch culture for this 2-hour layover. I will say I found the service in this lounge to be excellent. They actually came by to take your drink order, which would never happen at a lounge in Canada. Here's a quick rundown of the entire buffet. So they had butter chicken pasta, a lot of charcuterie type food. Gotta have that bread, meat, and cheese. They had a bowl of fruit and then a bunch of different sodas in glass bottles. Then there was a little tea station to the right. I'm sure there was coffee too, but I never found it. Overall, I thought the temporary lounge was great. It had a bunch of natural light and this window that you could see out to the apron with some KLM planes. It wasn't overly full, but this is because they were denying tons of people entry. You're supposed to be able to get in the Aspire Lounge with priority pass, but I saw dozens of people get turned away because the lounge was just too small. I had time for one more Heineken hand delivered to me by a kind Dutch man. And then it was time to go. I will say this lounge was nowhere near our departure gate, so it's time to do some more walking, but there was a few interesting things to see in the Amsterdam airport. This is the KLM lounge. Look at those little Dutch houses. They're filled with gin. Oh, I really want one. Gotta fly on KLM's business class one day. Tony's Chocolate was all over Europe and their store looked cool. They really know how to hook a tourist like me. They had this tulip store, and then right next to it was a cheese store with some clogs out front. You don't even need to go in the city. They got all the stuff you need in the airport. The lounge was so far away from our gate that we missed zone 1 boarding. Yes, the hardships are truly piling up. Finally, we find our plane. Today we're flying on one of Air Canada's Boeing 777s. It has 11 rows of business class with the first 7 in the forward cabin and then a mini cabin with 4 more rows of business class. When we got to the gate, boarding was well underway. It was quite busy until we turned down the bridge that was boarding business class. Let's get on board and check out all Air Canada has to offer.
Where are we seated today?
7K and 6K.
7K and 6K are both down the second aisle.
Thank
here.
you. And we made it. As you heard, we're sitting in 6 and 7K, which is at the back of the forward business class cabin. All of the business class seats in the forward cabin were eventually filled, so we were far from the last people on board. I specifically picked these seats as 7K has a bit more privacy than most, and I'll show you why in just a little bit. But first, here's our amazing pod taking us from Amsterdam to Toronto. It really is a great seat. The only thing that could make it better, champagne and in an Air Canada branded glass to boot. Maybe flying somewhere a little more exotic than Toronto would be good too. I know, I'm asking for too much. Let's check out the menu. It's actually a pretty sizable menu. It starts off with an introduction to Air Canada's signature class. And this menu is in English, French, and Dutch. Here's the main menu with food on the left and drinks on the right. I went for the beef fillet. This flight's departing around noon, so they're calling it dinner, but it's really more like lunch. And then you also get a light meal before landing. As we taxi over to the runway, let's check out our beautiful engine view. There's so many KLM planes in the background, as you can tell, this is really their airport. Let's take off and get this flight started. I have a ton of flights filmed, so if you'd like to see more, consider liking and subscribing. We found a little bit of blue sky as we take off, more than enough to make a Dutch boy a pair of pants. You can tell from my reflection that I'm pleased to get a warm towel. Not long after, we get a tablecloth, along with some nuts that are also warmed, and the Aperol Spritz, which is thankfully cold. Cheers to the next 8 hours in business class. I think the Aperol Spritz is a great addition to the menu, as you can see from my c'est magnifique reaction. Though I wondered if the flight attendants think it's annoying to make. Pretty much half the people in front of me ordered one as well, and so it took our flight attendant a long time to make all the drinks. Here's the appetizer, which all came out on one tray. I loved the seafood salad and I thought it was delicious, but probably a bold choice. I think you're either gonna love it or hate it. There's also a bun and then a regular salad. Of course there's also cutlery, and I switched to white wine. Love the Air Canada branding on the cutlery, and the travel-sized olive oil. This is a good example of why I like seat 7K. As you can see, there's no middle seat beside it, so you get a little bit of extra privacy. Here's my main course. This is the beef fillet. I had a very similar dish on WestJet's business class, and I gotta say, Air Canada kicked their butt. Check out my other video if you want to see a full WestJet review. The beef on today's flight was cooked well, but I'm not expecting to get medium rare in the air. The food really impressed me, as you can see here. For dessert, there's a giandouille shortbread cake, though I really don't know what that means. It was good though. It's not every day you get to appreciate a beautiful view like this, especially from the bathroom. And it's quite a spacious bathroom at that. I would say it's about 6.5 feet tall considering I just fit. They have a maple leaf print on the wall, but they only decided to make one of the maple leaves red. So special. On the door there's another mirror. There's also your standard soap and hand cream by the sink. Okay, enough toilet talk, let's head back towards our seat. This is the galley that separates the forward and aft business class cabins. Okay, amenity kit time. It's by Aqua de Parma, and it's in the new slightly smaller cloth case. Here's the backside, which tells you everything the kit contains. It's pretty much packed to the brim with stuff. Here it is all together, so you have socks, an eye mask, a glasses cleaner, earplugs, a dental kit, and then some creams. On the inside there's an Aqua de Parma for Air Canada tag, and inside the little black package there's hand cream and lip balm. Here's another view from seat 7K. It does feel really private and cozy. Let's do a little seat tour while we're at it. To your right you have one main storage zone. It houses the headphone jack, the in-flight entertainment controller, and some power outlets. There's a lot of room to the right, but no actual storage. The in-flight entertainment controller pops out. This allows you to control the screen without having to do a forward crunch every time. You are provided with Air Canada branded noise cancelling headphones, and your seat controls are just below the storage compartment. You can control a lot from one little screen. The main controls section lets you adjust different portions of the seat. You can just tap and hold if you want to kick your legs out. But wait, you have even more control. You can adjust things like lumbar support or how firm or soft the seat is. The seat's actually inflated with air, so the firmer you make it, the more air is pushed into the seat. And you know I like my seat how I like my handshakes. Honestly not that firm, I just wanted to show this as an example. Finally, if you go to ambiance, you can adjust the lighting in your pod and also in the footwell. Back to the seat itself, you have a tray table that starts in shelf mode but can be pulled towards you and flipped forward to make a very good table/desk. It is quite sturdy and can accommodate slight adjustments, so you're not stuck in your seat if you want to have a quick washroom break during dinner. To your left you have an armrest that can go up and down to accommodate sitting or sleeping positions. There is a storage compartment below the armrest as well. Down and to the right there's the literature pocket with your menu and safety information. Let's test out how long the seat is. There are these physical buttons that you can use to get into lie flat mode or regular sitting mode. Okay, I'm only showing off my feet and socks for informational purposes. I have size 12 feet and had to kick my shoes off to get enough room to move them around comfortably. If you want to lie flat on your back, I'd say 6'5" is max height. I just fit. In terms of other features, there's this hypnotizing reading light. Smash the like and subscribe button. That's a weird feature. Overall, I loved the seat. Very comfy and very private, though you could definitely tell it wasn't new and had some spots with wear on it. The blanket and mattress pad looked nice, but as this was a daytime flight, I didn't end up using them. The business class service starts at seat 1 and then works its way all the way back to seat 11. So if you wanted the quickest service, I'd pick the furthest seat forward available. Let's take a look at the in-flight entertainment screen and the glorious flight map. Anyone else absolutely love watching the flight map? I think it's better than most movies, to be honest. Though I was impressed with Air Canada's movie selection, they had a ton of new releases and a much deeper collection than WestJet has. There was a few fun bonus features like this map that showed you all the destinations they fly to. You could click into any specific city and then see all the routes that connect on Air Canada. The flight map also had some very cinematic shots. Though the view out the window is pretty good too. Here we are flying over Newfoundland. If you're hungry mid-flight, there is a snack box at the front of the business class cabin. I scored a little granola bar and bag of popcorn. I definitely didn't need the snacks though. You are really fed well on an Air Canada business class flight. Here's the meal service just before landing. The main is a smoked chicken breast with pasta salad and zucchini. There was also a little box of chocolates for dessert. This flight was just incredible. The only thing I didn't like was how fast it went by. As we begin our descent into Toronto, let's talk about how much this flight actually cost. For some context, I am deeply into collecting travel points and redeeming them optimally. For this flight, I paid 60,000 Aeroplan points and $125 in taxes and fees. Though this also included a Scandinavian flight from Oslo to Amsterdam, and a business class flight from Toronto to Winnipeg. Subscribe if you want to see those flights coming up, and thank you so much for watching.